Hello again, Naas Botha, and on the other hand, Deon. How was your week, Deon?
Not quite a busy one. Spent some time with the Pumas team on the weekend.
Okay, and how was that, Jimmy Stonehouse? Did they, what's it like? What was it? Was it a rugby course? Was it more information shared?
Yeah, it was more like a clinic,
Okay.
but what
Okay.
made it very nice is that they brought their whole team with,
Oh,
and so they did all the practical things. Yeah, we picked up a lot of stuff, and you could see why the Pumas are playing like they do.
no, not a bad coach, huh?
No, not at all.
Because I had, 2 weeks ago, I had a little bit of time with him in Cape Town. Absolute amazing, and the way he's looking at the game, and he is a guy that I believe deserved a little bit more in South African rugby, but it's not our decision. But I need to come to something else. Last week it was Sia's 100th international, and everybody made an issue. And we spoke about it beforehand, and we said, you know what? We're not going to go into that. Why? Because then you just part off. It's like a little bit, I don't do Facebook, but I mean, you can see, oh, it's Deal's birthday today. Then there's 100 guys. Happy birthday, Deal. The question is, do you really mean it? What would I do? And that's just the way I am. I will send him a private message. Congratulate him on his birthday. And we spoke about Sia's achievement and what an achievement that is to play 100 internationals for your country. And we decided we will talk this week about it. Why? Because now he played more than 100. He's on 101. Okay. So, firstly, from us, Sia, absolute fantastic. Your captaincy, your leadership, just your human being, the way you've been playing the last number of years. It was, I would say, Deon, remarkable career, if I can say that. Where it all started many, many years ago, where it's still going, we still don't know. If maybe in 2 years, another World Cup, who knows? It might be, but from ex-players, what an achievement. Welcome to the Century Club. That's quite a nice one, eh? It's not too many guys that can say that. I don't know if you want to add something, Dil.
Yeah, especially at international level, playing 100 games for your country and being the captain. Yeah, going for a three-peat in 2 years' time. And at this stage, it looks like the Boks will be the team to beat.
Yeah, it looks like it. So absolutely fantastic. See, now everybody heard it a week later. So now you can actually think about it again. Okay. But we had a fantastic weekend with a number of issues that we can talk about. Let's get to Boks first. The Italians, as we thought at home, will be a difficult one. They did prove it in the first half, but I think at the end they were totally outplayed in the second half. But let's get to it. The red card. We've seen incidents over the weekend far worse than Mostert, far worse. Penalty, yellow cards, question mark, maybe a red card at the end. No red cards, only Mostert. And I thought, but that it's not sitting nicely at the moment because it looks like because of our success, and I'm not biased here. I'm just absolutely honest. You tend to get a little bit of a feel, Dion. There's a little bit of needle when it comes to South Africa, and I don't appreciate that. Don't play somebody down when they're successful. You want to actually share their success for the sake of rugby. I don't know what you thought about it, but the more I looked at it, and the more I looked at Wales, Japan, yesterday, Scotland, Argentina, what a joke. And World Rugby really needs to step up now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because they're spoiling the game
Absolutely.
week in and week out, and it seems to be the Springboks all the time that's getting the harsh calls against them. I actually posted a couple of photos of the games this weekend
Yeah.
where Pendergrast hits O'Connor straight into the face. The English one winger of theirs straight into the face of the All Black player. Not even one of them was a penalty, and it was much worse than Franco Mostert's.
Yeah.
Mostert's heat starts on top of the chest, then it moves up. And one thing that you need to take in consideration as well, once you make that impact, sometimes it is difficult to wrap the arm. Although you need to make an effort, we understand that. But like we said, much worse calls in the other games that hasn't been liked about. And once again, a South African player getting a straight red card. So for my part, Pendergrast needs to be cited if they want to suspend that Mostert as well.
Or they just want to be fair.
Yes.
Just want to be fair.
Then they need to cite Pendergrast. And if I was Australia, I'll make a claim of it.
Yeah.
Because Luet got 4 weeks. Franco probably is going to get the same. Then Pendergrast needs to get the same. The Japanese player needs to get the same. Yeah, the Scottish player yesterday, the ref said it was just unfortunate. It wasn't
but that was striking the face. That wasn't even on the chest now.
But what I like there is the ref made the call.
That's the difference.
And it went on. So he made a good rugby ball.
Yeah.
But if you compare it to the games that was played on the weekend, it's not fair. Pendergrast one was shocking. I think that was the worst yet of it all. But not even a penalty. Not even a review. And I see the box has a full English panel for the weekend. So it doesn't get easier from the official side.
Yeah, but I think it is going to start putting more pressure on the, let's say, referee, especially the TMO, because it looks like 90% is in the ear of the referee. I don't mind if there is something totally against all rules of rugby, but there's too many question marks. But I listened to something that Eddie Jones said this morning. And he was going on about Japan and Wales and a couple of the incidents and whatever. And he said, the thing is, and we spoke about it last week, what's the intention? Now, if you look at, let's go back to Lua. What was the intention? It wasn't to hurt the player. Franco Mostert. It wasn't to hurt the player. It's a little bit of a rugby collision, as we call it. Okay. Some of the others that got yellow cards and this. And Eddie said the refs need to make that a clear call. Is the intention there to hurt somebody? Okay. If that is the case, then absolutely a card. We all agree on that. But if that's not the intention, then a penalty is fine. But just move on. And the other thing, a really annoying thing, I don't know if you like it, but we actually watch one incident like 10 times. How can you not make the call after watching it twice?
But that's why the bunker review came in, is to get the game going and let the TMO make the decision. Now, all of a sudden, he's making the decision, watching it 10 times. So I think they must make the games 90 to 100 minutes these days because we're wasting so much time.
Yeah, one of these days, all games will be played over long weekends because we won't have enough time to finish in time. Okay.
And with 14 men.
Yeah, but let's get to the box performance. I thought absolutely brilliant. Seriously. Pressure again. Italy really playing well up to a point. But then we just outclassed them. And I don't mean it in a bad sense because I'm glad to see Italy coming up, seriously. I love the way they play the game. I like the speed with which they play the game. The skill level definitely improved. They a different kettle of fish, let's be fair. But the Boks did extremely well to walk away from that field with a good win.
Yeah, and unfortunate they fly off kicking very poorly in the first half. I have to mention it because the kicks was in front of the folds.
Yeah.
And that would have maybe given them a little bit of momentum.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't seem to find it because They weren't really breaking the defense line, so they were clever to take the points, but just out of sorts, Cabrisi, I would have put on Thomas O'Allen much earlier onto the field.
Okay.
The Boks obviously playing with a B team. Rassi making the changes quickly. And once again, just the guys coming off from the bench, having a big impact, changing that whole game. But like we said against France, another red card, Italy dominating in the scrums, but no panic once again from the Boks. Absolutely just believing in the system, believing in what they need to do. And at the end, a convincing win under difficult circumstances, especially from the refs as well.
Okay. Now that's South Africa. We've got 10 games. I don't think we're going to talk about all 10, but the next one, England 33, All Blacks 90. All Blacks started extremely well. Okay. First 20 minutes. Then it fell apart. You that's actually doing kicking, coaching the whole time. Try and explain to me, because I can't get my brain around. You get a penalty. All you have to do is kick it out. They don't even find touch. It's not like it's just going over the line or the guy stand inside and maybe catching the ball out. That's not even making the 5-yard. Now, on international level, to get to that, there's just too many question marks. And it happened actually in every single game. The guys can't find touch.
Yeah, and Bowden has been struggling for 2 years now, to be honest. And apparently adequate muscles.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But why do you keep him on the field?
Why did you play him in the first place?
Why does he start the game? Yeah. Damien played an exceptional game against Scotland for that second half period that he came on. Why didn't you start him? All of a sudden, Will Jordan needs to kick up at line, which he's never done for the All Blacks. Cam Roygaard taking a penalty. But that definitely cost them. It was 12-5 at that stage. But with a one penalty straight in front of the posts, you put it over, it's 15-5.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, 2 drop goals from Ford, and it's 11-12. They feel like they're back into the game, coming back after halftime. But once again, a New Zealand team collapsing after the first half. We've seen it time and again this year. What the problem seems to be, I've got no idea, but I haven't seen a New Zealand side that had absolutely no plan with the ball, like they've been doing all year.
Yeah.
They're waiting on individual brilliance.
That's good.
And at this stage, it's only Will Jordan at the back that's really creating opportunities. But further from that, you mentioned it, when Bowden gets the ball and he doesn't know what to do, he kicks it, but he kicks it downfield, no contests. It's just too easy. But that was a very, very cruel performance.
What's actually quite evident lately with the New Zealand guys, the basic mistakes. I can recall a number of years ago, and I always used it, and I think maybe we did mention it in a previous program. For them, next to the touchline, they did everything not to go over the touchline. They fought really hard to get back in field, keep the ball alive. Now you get wingers running, getting tackled, they lose the ball. You pass the ball to a forward, it's going to nobody. He knocks it, or it's in between two. It's like they don't know where the ball is actually going, to whom it's going. It's like, and you can't really just put this all down to coaching. And I'm not yet to try and say, don't fire the coach. This is not what I'm saying. But the thing is, you know how we track. We did for 2 years together. What you keep training the whole day, you get to a game and the players just do the absolute opposite. And you think, where's that coming from? And that's what I'm getting now, watching New Zealand. It's like the quality of play at the moment It's not even close to the great New Zealand sides. And you can't just put it down to coaching. You've got to start looking at individuals. Then you can say, yeah, but if he hasn't got the skill, then why is the coach selecting him? That's when you can go to the coach. But apart from that, for 80 minutes, you have to do your job on the field. And I think at the moment with New Zealand, there's too many individuals not doing the job correctly.
And I think Scott Robertson would expect more from them. And the unfortunate part for him is that it's his top players.
Yeah.
It's the Bowden Barrett, Scott Barrett. It's the leaders of the team that's not shaping and that's not performing well. And it's got a spiral effect on the whole team, but they've got a lot of reflection to do. They'll probably beat Wales over the weekend. That's not going to tell them a whole lot. Yeah, and you've got that series coming to South Africa next year, and if they play like that, it will be one of the worst tours that the All Blacks will have.
Yeah. You know what we mustn't underestimate is the quality of the England side at the moment. They're definitely on the up. Okay? I thought the first 15 minutes, he struggled. He really struggled. Then 2 quick drop kicks, and it was nice to see drop kicks actually coming back. Andre had a fantastic drop kick. And then you had 2 by Ford. So suddenly they realize it's important to keep the scoreboard ticking over. If you struggle to find the goal line, take the 3 points. That's why we spoke about it sometimes and say, you get a penalty right in front of the goalpost, then you go to touch. You don't score. Next time, you don't score. Third time, take the points. Get something and go back because you received the kickoff in any case. And I think we sometimes underestimate a drop kick. Why I'm saying that is nobody made a mistake. Nobody made a mistake. You didn't give away a penalty, silly penalty, this, that, whatever. But you're 3 points down.
Yeah, there was clever play from Ford because they couldn't break the line.
They could, yeah.
And those 6 points was, at the end of the day, it counted a lot for them because it gave them that momentum starting the second half.
Yeah.
And they believed that they were still in the game. And unfortunately, Cody Taylor, directly after halftime, getting sin-binned for that tackle where they said he deliberately played the ball.
Yeah.
That call was also a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, he racked his arms. 2 players went to the ground and his hand touches the ball, but he doesn't have the power to hit the ball so hard that it goes 1.5 meters away from the rail. And that was a turning point for England as well.
Now, you see, that's the whole thing we talk about, rugby incidents. Things like that can happen. That's totally different. We're running, I'm passing to you, and somebody deliberately is stopping the ball, getting to you. That's different. That tackle and the whole thing and that little half rack, whatever, suddenly ended up in a yellow card. I didn't understand that either. But it was good to see England. We don't want to take anything away from England. So we're talking about New Zealand because we're a little bit more southern hemisphere. But England did well. They really played well. And at the end, they actually took that game away from New Zealand with a speed that New Zealand couldn't recover.
Yeah. No, hats off to them. I think it's 10 in a row now.
Yeah, it's 10 in a row. Perfect number, no?
Yeah, obviously. I think they're lucky that they're not playing the box because they would have ended that streak. Because I think they're a little bit on a high at the moment.
Yeah.
You need to take in consideration who they played as well in those 10 games. But Joy, you don't just win a test match. So to win 10 in a row, it will lift them, will give them confidence. But I think Argentina is going to test them on weekend.
Yeah, but it just shows you do something right.
No, for sure.
Nobody's just going to win 10 in a row.
No, and I think Borthwick has also got a lot of flack over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So this will give him a boost as well and his whole coaching staff.
Yeah. Okay. The other big surprise, okay, Scotland, Argentina. 21-0 up. I thought Scotland really played well. I thought Argentina, where they got the first flyer from, I absolutely had no idea. Okay, because he had a shocker of the first half, changed the fly off, just shows you the impact of a number 10. And suddenly it all turned. But the easy win at the end, 33-24, Deon. Did you expect that one?
Oh, after 21-0, I didn't expect it. I called that Argentina will win this game beforehand. But after 21-0 with 23 minutes left, you felt, okay, it's game over. But their bench proved to be the difference yesterday.
Yeah.
And they kept their tempo from the start, although they couldn't convert in the first half. They had a high intensity, and I think they just ran Scotland off their feet.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, for me, it was not a surprise because we know Argentina. We were sort of waiting, and one change, just one change, fly off, made a big difference there. Okay, then Wales, Japan. They sort of trying to get their ranking sorted out. Okay, 24-23 for Wales at the end, penalty in the dying seconds. I wasn't too surprised because we all expected a close game.
Yeah, but I think Eddie Jones will pinch himself. I think they had like 1,100 meters gaining meters compared to Wales' 580. I think territory was 71% for Japan. So I think they would keep themselves because now they ended 13th and they're outside of that top 12, which means they're going to end up in a difficult pool.
Yeah.
I'm happy for Wales that they pulled it through. How they did it with those stats, you don't know.
Yeah.
But once again, a kick winning the game, it just shows you the significance of having a good goal kicker. But yeah, a lot of work still left for Wales. Japan, the brand of rugby that they're playing, we all know is great, but I think they lack that physicality.
Yeah.
Discipline cost them as well. But yeah, outside of that top 12 and be 2 weeks away from that pool draw. So it's going to be interesting.
Dan Edwards Flair from Wales played quite well there.
Yeah.
We spoke about it last week again.
Yeah, he's a good player. The guy that came off the bench also did very well. But like I say, only Wales will know how they won that game because the stats was against them.
Hey, you look at the scoreboard. France 34, Fiji 21. Not really a surprise.
Not a surprise. You probably would have felt that they would have beaten them by a bigger margin. And it was the French's best team. They didn't play a B team. But if you saw the way that Fiji played against England, it was actually a backup game from them where they actually delivered once again.
Yeah.
I feel Fiji played better than the All Blacks against England. They tested them more. So wasn't surprised that Fiji had an excellent game against them. Yeah, I think they want to point back as soon as possible.
But it was good to see Fiji really competitive for a long time. And I think that's what we talk about the whole time. We need more teams. And I thought Fiji actually did their part. Okay. So we've done that. Okay, now Georgia 38, Canada 17. Not really a surprise there. No. Okay. The surprise for me of the weekend, USA 26, Romania 18. And I thought that's a brilliant win for the Eagles. Because Romania is not an easy side. Or for years, they've always been a difficult side. I don't think they at the level of Georgia at the moment, but I must say, before the game, you might have thought maybe Romania, but great win for the Eagles. Yeah. I needed this one.
After those two losses, Romania obviously at home is tough, but it's a good win for the US, and that's what we said last week. They just need a win like that and can just boost them. So maybe that's the start.
Okay, and then we saw Hong Kong, China the other day qualifying for the World Cup. But Portugal taking 58-12 win against against Hong Kong, China. That's a little bit of a surprise, isn't it? Because that's a new team for next World Cup, losing against Portugal quite badly.
Yeah, and they also have a lot of foreign players that's quite familiar to the game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a new game for the players, for the country as whole to go to a high level playing at a World Cup, yes. But yeah, that's a big loss and not a good sign for them.
No, especially for a new team. But okay, at least now that can work from something. And then I think, was it this week or maybe Spain 25, England 8-29? Oh, not a great result for Spain, is it? Also a qualifier for the World Cup.
Yeah, you'd expect those teams to beat the other international teams, B teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a great result, not good signs.
No.
So yeah, a lot of work left for these tier 2, tier 3 nations.
Okay, then the other things we spoke about the cards, we spoke about the drop kicks. I think that was nice to see a little bit. Then Christy, we spoke about the one line defense, and he sort of said we're a little bit out of touch. That's the new way of playing. And then I don't know how, but I saw 2007. Okay. Now that's long after I retired. You saw the South African defensive line. Then you saw Brian Abana, sort of the second line of defense. And then you saw Percy Montgomery, the third line of defense. So why I'm saying this is not to say anything against what Christy is saying. All I want to say is, Deon, do you agree? That's why we feel if you break that defensive line, you score. And that's why we start getting quite in the URC, high scoring games, 60, 70 points easily. Because if one team starts taking over, you break the line of defense, you score. Break the line of defense, you score. So that's why we said, maybe not too bad to have a little bit of more cover behind that first line. You agree on that?
Yeah, for sure. But I think the pundits also called it over the weekend that the box scramble is the best at the moment.
Yeah.
But scramble defense means there's a second line of defense.
Yeah.
It's not that they're just running out of nowhere and making hits. Because defense closing in on teams, the open side there's always an opportunity.
There's space.
Yeah. And Pino, he scored like that last week for France against us.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the scrum half isn't working at the back line. So maybe he misunderstood us of what we actually meant and said there. But that's why we also said the grubbers and the chips will be a more familiar sight.
Yeah.
Especially with the first line of defense. But you're definitely going to see a second or third line of defense coming in the next year or two, like it was back then.
Yeah.
But I think he probably misunderstood us.
Yeah. But he makes a point, but I'm just saying, at the end, if you break that line of defense, you score, and you don't really want that. And then Gavin McGrath from, I think he's New Zealand. It's always nice to hear from him. He's always got a positive attitude, vibe about the game and about the program. And it's not, we're sitting here to say, hey, we only need good news, but we need interesting news. Let's put it that way. But I just want to say, Damien, the weekend, I thought actually that well at fullback. I still think that game when he played inside center was absolutely magnificent. And then Morne van den Berg, not bad, huh?
No, he didn't have a bad game. But I think Grant just brought that spark that last 20 minutes that we needed.
Yeah.
But Damien was immense at fullback. A lot of those grabbers and kicks through from Italy, he regathered, and you need a clever player like that, reading the game from there.
But it's actually amazing, just sticking with the name Damien, okay? Good at fullback, good at the inside center, good at fly-offs. So it's amazing how some players can just, I want to say, do a little bit of everything. But at the end, that what we've seen, and let's go back to Brent Russell many years ago, not too many years ago, but I mean years ago. Um, somewhere you also need to specialize, don't you think? Or do you think that the game is actually a little bit more open?
I think the game is evolving that you can use somebody more than you should, but at some stage you have to specialize in a position because I feel you can't really play yourself into rhythm and into form because we know, especially at international level, the competition is so tough. It's not like at club level we can get away with certain things, changing positions every weekend. But at international stage, doing that, he's been doing well. But I'd also like to see him specialize in one position. But going back to the Stormers, you might find him at 12 a lot again because of Geland, etc. That's there. So, yeah, that's debatable.
Yeah. But the great player, absolutely fantastic player. But from school, he was an absolute fantastic.
At school, he played fly-off.
Yeah.
And he was amazing. 2016, he was the best fly-off at school level.
Yeah. So that's about it for today. And I think, as we say, a great surprise. Scotland 21-0. You don't really lose games from 21-0, but we've seen that in the past. Okay. USA getting a fantastic win against Romania. Portugal, big win against Hong Kong, China. But out of the big games, actually only England actually give one big one over New Zealand.
And Ireland against Australia.
Of course, we never spoke about Ireland.
Yeah, that's the one.
3-6-19.
Yeah, that's the one we best. But I think it's one that Australia also wants to match. So, yeah.
But, okay, just quickly. Is that worrying times for Australia? Because that's a big score, but I must say Ireland play. Why I thought we spoke about Ireland is when you spoke about Pendergrass. That's why I missed that. But don't you think that's a little bit worrying?
Yeah, it is. And I actually listened to Jeff Wilson and them on the breakdown. Those Australia players played Super Rugby. They've played the Lions. They went straight into the championship. They went into the end of year tour. And the core of the players is the same. So even if they lose 2 or 3 guys on a weekend, the core is still the same. And I think their tank just ran out for the year.
Yeah. I actually watch all the big games. And I must say, credit to Ireland also. Ireland really played a good game. There's a game to look forward to on the weekend, South Africa, Ireland. That is a game to look forward to. But Ireland did well, but this is seriously not the Australian side that we sort of saw against the British and Irish Lions.
Not at all. Not at all. But yeah, I think it's just the season that's become too long because they're not bad.
You know what? I saw this morning, if they lose on the weekend, and I think they're going to.
I know they're playing France, so it's not getting easy.
If they lose on the weekend, now it's under, you might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's first time since 1958. Now, that's the year I was born, that they lost all their games in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, I don't think that's a record that they want to walk away with. But France only had the Boks and the Wallabies. That's their tougher games for the end of the tour. So France will target that as a must-win.
Yeah.
They're also playing for ranking. I mean, they're lying 5th in the world. But
you need in the top 6. You really need to be all top 6.
But if you want to send your B team to New Zealand for 3 tests, you deserve not to be in the top 4. Could have been a different story if they sent their best side to New Zealand earlier this year, especially the year that New Zealand is having.
Yeah,
they could have been there for the taking. But there are a lot still to play for this coming weekend. Ireland, South Africa, obviously the big one.
Okay, just fun. Okay, Do you think after, especially, the news about games week in and week out, getting the results, not getting the results, do you think in future we might see the Northern Hemisphere taking the international a little bit more serious, except the Six Nations? Because it looks like it's all about the Six Nations. Nobody really cares about June, July. We do. They don't. Then at the end, we send our best teams to what? We want to go and win there. Do you think that it's like, I think Gaultier said it last week after losing to the Box, or when they lost, is to say that maybe they sort of ignored the importance of the June to the Southern Hemisphere.
And the interesting fact is, you can look at Antoine Dupont's record outside of Europe.
Yeah.
It's not good
No.
because he hasn't been exposed. So obviously the next World Cup is in Australia. I believe if you tour and you win away, you learn a lot more.
Easy.
You get to know a lot more of your players because they're under scrutiny, they're under more pressure. And you need to create that. And I think that's what Rassie is doing well. He's throwing so many players into the pool, but that's why everybody has the belief that they can win. It's not an unfamiliar territory that those guys go into because they've been exposed to the adversity. So yeah, these teams, there's a lot of catch up to do. And coming back to your question, I don't see them prioritizing July tests up until we have a one season.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the most important thing, the one season there. Okay, but that's Deon and myself, and till next time.